How's it going, folks? This is Javier Leos from the Children's Court, coming to you live from Mission Control Studios. And today I wanted to talk about the whole Dominican Republic controversy with people, mysteriously dying there. So I wasn't necessarily going to do the video because I had lost motivation for it. I got to really get my opinion out and my feelings out on another YouTuber's post. One of my friends, Alex McGee, who I largely disagreed with, but I think I went so hard inside that video that I, lost interest in doing a video for myself until I came across, and let me, bring it back a little bit. So in the Dominican Republic, tourists over the last few years and coming to a head in the last couple of weeks have been mysteriously dying or falling ill, and multiple couples have died from some people believe poisoning. Few couples were I think 2 different couples mysteriously drove off of cliffs, which is ridiculous in itself. And another couple was found. Their remains were found after their families, reported them missing or not coming back from a trip. Another couple just passed away gracefully inside their hotel room. And one lady was severely beaten, I think 2 weeks ago. And this most recent case that I just came across today, which prompted me to get up and do the video, was a high school or college graduate went to the Dominican Republic for a celebration vacation in paradise with her friends, and mysteriously her and about 8 of her other friends that were with her came down with a serious illness. And they were panicking. They didn't know what was wrong, and they were already aware of the dangers of coming to the Dominican or going to the Dominican Republic. So they were just panicking. They thought they were going to die, of course, because they were all sick, and they didn't know. They had no clue what could have caused it, because they were just drinking, they were eating, enjoying their vacation, and all of a sudden they're sick. So they're probably all telling each other, "I love you. We're out of here. They got us." And to me, it's a sad situation. So I wanted to just express my opinion about the situation with going there, which is still largely Americans shouldn't be going there and risking their lives trying to prove to themselves or others that they're not afraid to live. That's some liberal white girl stuff anyways. I mean, it's infected people largely of all races today, but that free spirit, everybody's good, there's good in everything, that came largely from white girls with what do they call it today, privilege. White girls who had no reason to fear anything because they've had everything and all the protections their entire lives, and now people are just living in la la land. So my point is, the Dominican Republic is a third world country, and I don't want to isolate this to the Dominican Republic. Any third world country is dangerous to go and vacation and have a great time. And I mean, largely the population is going to resent you for coming there and enjoying everything that they have to offer while they live in third world conditions. They're gonna resent you if you're a black person that much more, because listen, people in the third world still look at black people in America as beneath them. That's how they come here, and they look at you like a dog, and they try and compete with the white middle class or upper class even further than that, because they think that you're beneath them even if you're over them. And the wealth, as far as wealth is concerned. So you going over there and parading around and having a great time. That's not. And again, this is not just the Dominican Republic. This is any country. You going to any country and acting like you're just this a tourist with money and enjoying yourself and things of that nature, they're gonna resent you twice as much as they're gonna resent a white person, because a lot of people have been trained or programmed to believe that white people are over them, or better than them subconsciously, whether they admit it or not. So I think it's not inside the best interest of Americans to go there, but I want to keep the emphasis on black people, because black people have been targeted a lot inside this recent wave of deaths and assault that's come across in the Dominican Republic. And a lot of black people don't like to address the issue of racism amongst the Hispanic community. But I just, all you have to do is look at the practices. If you I think it was just last year, the Dominican Republic was implementing a policy of deportation, and the policy simply was, if your skin was dark like mine's, you were Haitian and you were going back to Haiti. So they were just deporting Dominicans that were my color, even though those people have never been to Haiti in their lives. They don't speak the language. I've watched documentaries, I've followed the news, I've done all of the research on that, because I couldn't believe it. It was crazy to me. I grew up hand in hand with the young Latino kids in Boston. We were taught to believe that we were the same and we were on the same boat, but what black people didn't know is those Latino or Hispanic kids were going home and being taught to hate us. You know what I'm saying? And if you think that I'm just talking, look up George Lopez on the comedy stage, saying that his parents told him, gave him 2 rules. Don't bring any dogs back home, and don't bring any black people back home. And don't just take my word for it. You can look it up. You can look it up and check out, because I don't know if everybody remembers this, but I jumped on social media to see what it was, and just the whole Hispanic community was just laughing. You know how we'd be like, yeah, our grandmother used to make us go get a switch off the tree to get our ass beat, excuse my language. They were all like laughing like that, like, yeah, I remember my father saying, don't bring no niggas in my house, I don't want you bringing no black girls. I was just like, I couldn't understand how they were just doing it so freely. Like, it was crazy to me to just watch it. Like, you're all admitting that you were raised to basically resent or be prejudiced or racist, in this case, to black people. So I'm not just speaking sweet nothings and just making things up just to be divisive in any manner. Black people largely don't like to face this issue, and it gives our brothers and sisters in the Latino community just an escape to not have to deal with this at all. And recently, with the rise of Black Lives Matter and things of that nature, black Latinos, they call themselves Afro-Latinas or whatever, they have stepped forward more than they would have before. Like, when I was young, if a Puerto Rican or Dominican boy or girl was my color, but they were from one of those countries, they would outright tell me, I'm not black, I'm Puerto Rican. I'm not black, I'm Dominican. I'm not black, I'm Nigerian. Nobody wanted to associate themselves with being black. Ron Barcelo it's imported from Dominican Republic. One of my Dominican friends brings me liquor from the Dominican Republic whenever she goes. Just thought I'd enter that into the into the record. So we have to actually have the conversation, or this is just gonna go. This is just gonna go under the radar for another century, 40 more decades, whatever the calculation you want to use. And at the end of the day, they're still gonna live inside this tribal mentality that they're over us, or they have some, or there's just some type of hatred towards us, underlying hatred. They're not as blatant as, you know, Mexican cartels or anything like that, but largely the Hispanic community is taught to separate themselves from us, and not see us as human as them. And like I said, I just gave you a few examples. Some black people are going to see this video and still call me. Listen, I was talking to my friend Alex McGee. Go check his channel out, Alex McGee. I was talking to him about how the Dominican Republic government was deporting people based on their skin color, and he's somehow he still found a way to call me passively call me prejudiced towards Dominican Republicans. And I just couldn't understand it, because I said it 3 times because I wanted him to address the fact that the Dominican Republic is deporting people based on the color of their skin. Listen, if Big Papi wasn't a rich MLB player, he would have been deported to Haiti. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, when it comes to vacation inside these places, you have to exercise caution as a black person, and as an American in general. I would just, you know, myself, I would always refrain from venturing off into these third world countries and just parading around in front of them with all your money and tourist, you know, attractions, and expecting them not to do anything. Like, if you go into a Western country, if you go to France, and you're spending $1,000 at, you know, a food restaurant, and $2,000, you know, at a tourist souvenir spot, you know, nobody's gonna come up and shank you in the neck and take your money. Well, I mean, probably today. I mean, it's largely been overrun by the third world of the Middle East and Africa, so it might be a different place in places like Germany, London, and, you know, Paris today. So you very well may be shanked in your neck for coming out there and spending tons of money. But my point is, when you travel to safer places, you know, Japan, Denmark, even, you know, probably Beijing, China, might be a lot more of a safe destination for you to go. If you want to go to one of these tropical paradise, you're really rolling a dice on your life, because especially a place like the Dominican Republic that seems to be targeting Americans right now. This isn't just, you know, bad people. A lot of people just want to say, oh, there's bad people everywhere. You can die if you walk outside tomorrow. The difference is you don't have to be there. You don't have to risk your life there. When you're inside your home country, it's a different story. Listen, if I lived in the Dominican Republic and, you know, my brother was like, hey, I'm going on a vacation to, you know, Dorchester, Massachusetts, or the Bronx, New York, and, you know, we heard, you know, terrible things about what happens out there, we'd probably be like, hey, Pito, don't go to, you know, the Bronx, New York. It's not a safe place. We just happen to be in the United States of America. I wouldn't recommend anybody that I love go to a place that is as dangerous as the country of Dominican Republic. Our own, you know, State Department basically says you're going to receive little to no police support if you get into an altercation. And if you watch the YouTubers, the people that live there from abroad, they'll tell you outright that the Dominicans stick together in most situations. So if you are a tourist and you get into an altercation with somebody who's bothering you, you might get mobbed by 50 people. So It's just a messed up situation. Does that mean that all Dominicans are bad people? No. Does that mean that all Dominicans or third world people are racist? No. But if you go to a country like the Dominican Republic, which practices racism inside its immigration policy, and you're a black person, listen, you're going to be targeted if you're a white person. So if you're black, you're going to be targeted twice as much. And like I said, I've already given examples of racial bias when dealing with us. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to be honest about my feelings towards traveling to these places. And again, it's not isolated to the Dominican Republic. I'm talking about the third world in general. I just don't understand that if you're not a filthy rich millionaire that's gonna make sure there's security, or a significant amount of security protecting you and your family, there's just no reason to do that. I mean, people are doing it just so they can take pictures and show you that they went. You know what I'm saying? People largely go there and don't even have enough money to have a good time. So there's a difference in living your life and not being afraid to live, and risking your life unnecessarily. And I believe, especially at this heightened tension period that we live in time, it's not the smartest idea to go parading around people that are hungry and people that are desperate and expecting nothing to go wrong, because to some people you're probably their last chance, or their only chance at eating. So hopefully it didn't come across as too bigoted or arrogant, but like I said, I don't have anything personal against people living in the third world. I mean, a lot of the United States is becoming the third world, and people, it's harder and harder for people to live even here. So, but the point is, risking your life going to the Dominican Republic specifically right now is just not, it's not worth it. And the things like hitting them economically will give the Dominican government incentive to make their streets and their resorts safer for people to come, because if the tourists stop coming and the money stops rolling in, everybody's going to suffer. So I believe that talking with your wallets is always the best thing. Capitalism 101. Speak with your wallet and the market will adjust itself. The destinations will adjust themselves too when they see people aren't going to stand for it, and they just go somewhere else. They go to Yugoslavia or something like that, and and say to hell with paradise for a while until they stop murdering people. So I'm gonna leave it there with that. Hopefully, again, I was making myself clear on why I don't think it's smart to go to these places, especially if you're black. It's definitely racial biased against darker people. A lot of Dominicans here in America will tell you that they're black like that, but they'll do that in front of you. You know what I'm saying? And they won't do that, and they won't do that among their own people. And I largely feel sorry for the women inside these Hispanic communities, because a lot of them are just passionate. I don't think a lot of them see color too much, but they have to deal with a lot of the men in their community teasing them and harassing them and making life difficult for them if they date outside their race, particularly black men. I've talked to so many different Latino or Hispanic women that have expressed that they go through so much trying to date black men because the men inside their cultures tease them, harass them, abuse them. I think it's a messed up situation for any group of people to have to go through if they just simply want to love who they love. Any woman should be able to love any man she wants, but this is what they go through there. So racism is real inside the Hispanic community, and if black people refuse to face that, it's never going to get any better. And it's definitely never going to get any better inside the countries you want to visit. I'm talking about domestically. So, yeah, I know I keep on stretching it, but there's just so much to talk about with this situation. It goes beyond the vacationing, you know what I'm saying? The vacationing, I think, the vacationing in Dominican Republic, as well as the third world, is ridiculous to me at this point in time. I think we need to allow the world to heal a little bit and rebuild a little bit before we start just dancing in front of poor people. Is just not right. I don't like it in America. So I mean, and we're a first world nation. Imagine third world people having to deal with it. So I'm gonna stop because I can talk about this all night. Get in the comments, let me know what you guys think. I'm definitely open to some conversation, and if it warrants it, maybe another video going a little bit deeper or expanding the conversation. But I'm very interested in knowing what you guys think, or what you may have experienced dealing with this situation, or this whole Dominican Republic travel, or the larger conversation that I was having with racism inside the Hispanic community towards black people specifically. Get in the comments, let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you guys later.